23 years ago, CBS News began covering the rise of the World Wide Web at a trade show in Washington.
There's a global network called the Internet.
This data highway, the high-speed data highways.
It allows anybody to communicate with just about anyone in the world.
And it changes the way people how they access information.
Most people think that in 10 or 20 years, yeah, we're going to live in this modern world. Well, it's here. That's what's surprising.
Fun to look at, right? Well, in the years since, internet technology evolved at lightning speed. Dial-up modems and early browsers gave way to AOL mailers. Remember those? Social networking and Wi-Fi connecting smartphones and tablets. So how is all this high-tech upheaval changing human behavior? That's one question cyberpsychologist Mary Aiken examines in her new book, The Cyber Effect. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Nora.
Okay, first, so what exactly is a cyberpsychologist and why this book?
Cyberpsychology is the study of the impact of emerging technology on human behavior. And we study everything from internet psychology through to virtual reality environments. I wanted to write the book because we are living through the largest unregulated social experiment of all time, and we need to pay attention.
Let's talk about screens particularly, because I mean that's one thing that the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends: no screens for kids under age 2. And you talk about that it's really important to look at your baby's face.
Yes, babies need eye contact. There isn't any study that doesn't support the eye contact requirement. And people say to me, well, what age should I expose my baby to screen time? And I say under 2. But what's more important is what age do you expose your infant to your screen time? The average adult looks at their device, their mobile phone, 200 times a day.
Wow.
And if you are a parent or a caregiver of a young infant, that's 200 times you haven't looked at your child.
In fact, you say that the lack of eye contact could change the course of human civilization.
Absolutely. Because in terms of bonding and development, children need FaceTime and not the app sort of FaceTime. They need eye contact. And when we look at photographs and we see clusters of children sitting in these linear clusters looking solemnly at their devices, the real question is, where do they learn to do that?
What can we do about the disturbing trend of cyberbullying?
Oh, cyberbullying. To paraphrase my favorite movie, the greatest trick that the social media companies have ever pulled is to convince us they can do nothing about cyberbullying. Real world bullying is a problem. Why? There's no evidence. A punch in the playground, a harsh word. Cyberbullying is nothing but evidence. You can't cyberbully without leaving a trail of digital evidence.
So what can tech companies do? I mean, we've seen companies like Twitter and others recently say that they're going to crack down on this.
I think that there has to be more pressure on these companies to step up. So we're all hung up on surveillance, and nobody wants to enforce surveillance online. But children need to be monitored. That's not surveillance, and parents have a right to monitor their children. I'm working on an algorithm. Cyberbullying is math. It's a formula, an equation. First variable is content, hate, die, kill. Second is direction. I'm bullying you, from me to you. Interval and frequency. With consent, parental consent, you could sit the algorithm on a telecoms platform, and the minute the behavior escalated into cyberbullying, digital outreach to the child, digital alert to the parents. Parents should not be the last person to know that their child is being cyberbullied.
Gosh, that's brilliant. That should be done.
This
Absolutely.
can be extended to adults and abuse on Twitter and other social media platforms as well, right?
Absolutely. Adults is a different matter because now you are into data protection and surveillance. Let's start with the kids. Let's start with the kids. And let's look at monitoring their behavior and helping parents. Parents should not be left to paddle their own canoe in cyberspace.
Why are people just so doggone mean on social media in cyberspace when they can be anonymous?
It's a really good question. There's a great study called the Dark Tetrad, which actually looks at trolling online and finds a relationship between a score on Machiavellianism, psychopathic traits, sadistic traits, and those who like to troll. The study concludes that, in fact, trolling is a manifestation of everyday sadism.
Wow.
Wow. You also talk about the importance of the selfie and all this, and that in fact it's not this harmless little thing that we're all doing now.
Are you?
We all are. Let's be honest.
Guilty.
Be honest.
You know, at our age here at the table, we're done, we're cooked. You know, if we decide to start taking selfies, it's not going to make a lot of difference other than reputation management and the type of selfie. But when it comes to kids, say you have kids and you have young kids and you have young kids, so during the ages between 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, children go through what's called identity formation. So can you imagine if they create this idealized self online? This virtual self. Anything up to 50% of kids under the age of 13 have a Facebook profile, even though the minimum age is 13. So the child will invest heavily in the self. They curate it. Better skin, shinier hair, stretched to be
With all
5
these
pounds
filters,
lighter.
All those
Exactly.
filters, yeah.
So does that lead to some sort of an identity crisis? And what about the poor real world self? Does it have to stay hidden in a basement because it can never live up to this thing popular, evidenced by all these connections?
Really
Facetune.
interesting.
That's what it is. You scream Facetune. No, Mary Aiken, thank you so much. Great stuff and great information. By the way, the Cyber Effect goes on sale today.